For those of you that don't know it, this is the week of Halloween. While we're recording this.
While we're recording this, yeah.
You know, in the future, it could be anywhere. So if you're listening to this at Christmas, I would probably stop because it's going to be scary.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, all of our shows are scary because we're in them. And we're allowed to speak without adults present. So if you like that sort of thing, I don't know who does.
Yeah.
You know, Martin Luther gets so talky on Halloween.
He's very lippy for a German.
Well, it's Halloween. It's kind of his day, man. You'll have to Google that. Just Google 95 Theses and it'll come.
You'll get a kick out of it.
Yeah. Where was I now? Oh, you like, subscribe, and follow. This is Truly News. Please, please, please. And although we will question your sanity and the fact that we're wondering why you're allowed to wander around without adult supervision, we'd be grateful. Now, once you've done the hard part, which is like, subscribe, and follow, and had all of the mental tests done and proven that, yes, you can operate heavy machinery, then you go on to the tough stuff. Like, if you find stories, just send them to us at titr@netradio.network.
That's us.
Yep. And then, if you hear stuff you like, or hear stuff you don't like, or hear stuff that you're funnier than we are, which really is not a
Shouldn't
challenge.
be all that difficult.
Nope. You can comment wherever and whenever you see this, hear this, or imagine this. Imagine is probably your best bet.
Imagine there's no titter.
This is True, Really News with Scott Combs and Tony Vercanis. All the news you're about to hear is true.
Really?
As far as you know.
Notes found on the internet.
E flat?
No, not those notes, you goober. Today, nobody showed up to my 8:15 a.m. class. 0 students out of 40. Sitting in an empty room, I emailed them, trying to disguise my hurt feelings. 2 minutes later, I get a reply. Professor, we think you might be in the wrong room. So anyway, I go off to live in a hole forever.
Yep.
My wife really wants me to mention that I was sleep deprived because I got up at 4 a.m. to play Dungeons and Dragons with my friends in Australia.
I just had penguin problems, and this guy is staying up all night, like, for fun. I'd move, dude.
Move to Australia if you can.
I would actually, if I were you, I would move to where the penguins are.
I hate lazy people. Reply, why? We didn't even do anything. I thought, that's Tony.
That is so me. Except I would never type out the reply.
Sometimes I think about the guy.
Think it.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't do
That's
anything.
as far as I'm going.
Sometimes I think about the guy at my poker table in Las Vegas who was kicked out after the pit boss said he was too drunk, which is a pretty high bar. Security came over and asked him to say the alphabet starting with M, and he replied, Malphabet. They escorted him from the room.
See, I'd let him sit back down.
I would too, because that is really thinking
That's
ahead.
clever. Yeah.
Me plunking stinky bastard man's carrier on the counter.
Huh?
Me.
I don't want to know the right. No, go ahead.
That's his cat.
Basically, we got something ugly up there.
Hi, he's here for shots and a nail trim, and he'll need to be sedated. Are you sure we can try? He needs to be sedated. Well, it'll take longer.
Raven.
He needs to be sedated. He will try to rip your face off. Well, we'll try it without first, and we'll let you know if we need to sedate. You will need to sedate, as she's meandering off. Nurse, 10 minutes later. So, we'll need to sedate him.
Ding, 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 ding.
Rachel and I are no longer dating. Mike, that's a horrible way of telling people we're married.
Is it?
Yeah, I rest my case. Got a friend, Rai.
Anne would know what that would be like, because you come up with really stupid ways to describe things.
I do.
Yeah.
But Rai does this. Oh yeah, this is my my first.
You have a Rai?
Rai, yeah.
That's my youngest granddaughter.
Ryan Selar.
No,
and
Riley Alm.
Rai always refers to his wife as his first wife. The only one you've ever married, you idiot. Well,
there are other ways that, if you marry one, you can't remarry the other one without getting rid of one. So
right, exactly.
Wow.
Or you shouldn't, at least.
At Plymouth State University in New Hampshire, because I'm not British, a mystery occurs every year at Halloween.
Mystery, you say?
Dum, dum, dum. Well, imagine that. A New Hampshire mystery at Halloween. I'm sure that there are no mysteries anywhere else. Well, there's like, why live in Detroit around Halloween would be a mystery. 2 pumpkins become impaled on the twin spires of the clock tower in the middle of campus. Oh. Yeah, exactly. That's, I think.
It's like sticking a trolley up there.
It's Ichabod Crane.
Ichabod Crane.
He's got nothing else to do. Right up there.
And the Humpty Bunch.
Flops a couple of pumpkins up there, rides off. Or he knew where he was going, but he has no head, so he... United Press International reported that the pumpkins, and so we say it here in Minnesota, pumpkins, have been appearing since the 1970s. Only in this country is the 1970s considered history. But no one seems to know who puts them there or how they do it.
And now you can do it by drone.
Conjuring the best, if far-fetched tale on how it happens, is a favorite campus pastime, says the website. They're college kids. What do you think they're going to do? Ignore it?
How do they get them down again?
That's I'm more. How do you? Who? Well, okay, college kids are ingenious, right? Because
it's engineering students that do it, obviously.
Yeah. Well, they come up with the idea. I bet it's jocks that put them up there
in the engineering department.
Yeah, sure. I don't want angry engineers. I'm going to cross a bridge that,
falls down on purpose.
Yeah. Hey, leave 35W out of this.
Man, that one scared me. Ian was downtown that day. The Iowa Department of Natural Resources, otherwise known as the DNR, has fired Officer Angela Jansen for conduct unbecoming a state employee for unauthorized personal use of a state database.
That's it? I mean, come on, we're talking government officials. It should be a little higher bar, don't you think?
Actually, the reason she got there is the best part. Jansen's troubles began when she was off duty and on a date in Ankeny. She called an ex-boyfriend to come pick her up from her date. The two were in his car and began to argue. The argument,
couples are known to do,
apparently became so heated that the ex-boyfriend's Apple Watch determined there might be an emergency and dialed 911.
Got the heart rate up too far in the argument.
When
police like the Hulk. Dude, when it starts to beep, stop.
When it starts to scream, lay down. So Jensen identified herself as a DNR officer and said she had a gun in her purse. She asked one of the officers if he dated older women and referred to him as Officer Hot Stuff.
Was alcohol involved at any point here?
Oh, I'm thinking.
Something had to be.
She said more than once she was likely drunk.
Well, that kind of... I don't know, Dr. Watson. I think that could be a clue.
She also told the officers she had used a state DNR database to find out if at least one person she had considered dating was married.
Well, I have a daughter and 3 granddaughters.
I understand the prudence of it.
Yeah. I'm not sure I would mind if Jake did background checks.
Yeah, but
every time.
His employer might.
I probably wouldn't tell them. Of course, now he can't because now he's a
nurse.
Yeah. Makes better money and worse hours. Who thought?
Right?
After crashing his truck into a Volusia, Florida?
Volusia.
What the hell? While crashing? Is it crashing?
Yes, it's crashing.
After crashing his truck into a Volusia, Florida. So this is a Florida man, is what I'm thinking.
It is. And
I should probably move into a Volusia, Florida utility pole around 2 a.m. back in May.
Whoops.
Which it completely severed the pole, by the way. 39-year-old Kevin Gardner did the obvious thing.
Talk to professor, police officer Hot Stuff.
No, I took off all his clothes and started banging on the front door of a home nearby.
As you do.
No, I've been contemplating how that was the thing to do. So apparently I don't have to move. Click
Get
Orlando.
drunk and think about it. It'll make more sense then.
I don't think about things when I drink. Click Orlando reported that when officers arrived at the home, Gardner had injuries on his face and legs. The truck registered to him, but he said it had been stolen.
By him, evidently.
I'm not sure they wanted to get into it that far.
Or the light pole.
And that he'd had seizures and didn't remember anything. Actually, that story kind of worked for Agatha Christie. So a breath test revealed an illegal blood alcohol content. As you may have guessed, Gardner, I'm sure they gave him a blanket or something, was held on multiple charges.
I'd give him a fig leaf and say, work
and
it
the
out,
Agatha
pal.
Christie thing is true, by the way. She's dead now, so no one will ever know what happened for those 11 days.
Oh, my. That's true.
Remember when she went? So they did 3 movies.
Yeah.
That are not, they make sure they tell you, right, they're not endorsed or whatever by anything related to the actual Agatha Christie history and memory stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad they did that.
So the first one was done about the time she was tiring of Poirot, which I believe would have been the late teens, early 20s, 1900s.
Okay. Yeah.
And because she ends up stopping. She goes out to a golf course and tracks down Arthur Conan Doyle because he has a hero he doesn't like either. And he
Right. It's time to get rid of
him
these
off
clowns.
and he had to come back. And she ends up somehow solving a murder there. Then they do another movie, which is set about the time she went missing. And again, there's personal strife involved. This is about the time she's getting divorced.
Oh, okay.
So I think it was like 1926, 27 was about the time she was considering and not liking the idea of divorce.
But the pool boy helped her to think about it.
And then the third one came along much later. The third one was kind of cute because it's the guy she married, her second husband, who he was there for the entire run of the rest of the marriage.
Okay.
And he was like 13 years younger than she was. Really didn't matter when they met.
And he really liked cleaning pools.
He's an archaeologist. She met him.
Cleaned ancient pools.
Because of her divorce, she wanted to visit Iraq.
Okay.
She thought it was romantic, and she wanted to write romance novels, and this was how she was going to research it. Because she couldn't find anything in books.
She's weird.
It's just... But it was kind of fun. And for 11 days there, after her divorce, she was, the movie says she was solving a murder. No one really knows. They found her car. They found all of her clothes on this road. And they didn't know it then, but they had over 1,000 policemen. They had national, military types were about to be called in. And they finally found her at a spa.
With the pool boy.
She couldn't remember how she got there, why she was there, when she got there, nothing. And that's how it went for the rest of her life. So she's either very clever or really happened that way.
Well, ask the pool boy.
I can make arguments for either.
Either. Suddenly you're
No, I don't think she was having the affair there. That's what I'm saying.
Really?
No.
She was naked part of the time.
This is true, really news. Send email to TITR@netradio.network.